Welcome back to Bad Luck Garage, everybody. Today we are installing our new Alloyworks aluminum radiator and dual fan combo into the Chaos Theory Camaro here. So we got Uncle Ray helping us today. You guys haven't seen him in a little while. Say hi, Ray.
Hey, y'all.
All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started installing this fan. So the first thing we're going to have to do, we're going to go ahead, take the hood off this thing and start taking the old radiator out. There's almost no coolant in here. Like, I literally had like a little bit in the bottom of a jug, and I was like, I'll just toss just a little bit in there. Maybe it'll help keep it from freezing. But it's primarily like, it's probably like 95% water. So I'm just gonna let it drain here.
There you go. They're all going to the ground.
Hopefully not. There we go.
Hell yeah.
These hoses are not going to reach since we're going to be moving the radiator forward. I don't know, this one over here might, because it's technically a little too long anyway. The water's just filthy. See that?
Transmission lines.
Yep. Yeah, I'll get the line wrenches and some vacuum caps to cap the lines off. I don't know how this is gonna how the new one's gonna set in. Yeah. We're gonna have to do some cutting and some bending. Yeah. But I was thinking we could take this fan and we might be able to clean it up, use it on the Nova.
Maybe.
And get rid of your mechanical fan and make room to make a little bit nicer intake.
You don't like my intake?
Well, I mean, it's fine, but it's not the prettiest thing. But if we could get it, well, I figure if we get over to that side, we'd have more room. Maybe we could make a cold air box or something for it.
All I gotta do is wrap a few beer cans around it.
You know what I need to do? We need to go ahead and pull this shroud and fan off, so I can get a wrench to the bottom line here a little bit. I'm wanting to put a transmission cooler in the back of the car with a fan on it. So eventually these won't even be here.
You can put it in one of these holes, make another hole over there, and just put it in that hole.
Well, no, because it's going to be full of exhaust piping.
Yeah, that's right.
But
yeah.
But I figure that'll get the transmission lines out of the engine bay altogether. Yeah. They'll just be going from the transmission straight to the back of the car, where I'll have a separate cooler with a fan. I've already wired up a relay for it and everything back there.
I was thinking ahead.
Should. Can you bring it your way real quick?
I got it.
All right, take it. There's the old radiator, and here's the new one. You can see it's quite a bit shorter, which is what we were going for. You know, again, this is the 3rd gen radiator. This is a radiator for a 84 through 90 Corvette. So not only is it, God, what is that, Ray? That's like 3 inches shorter, ain't it? So it's about 3 inches shorter and about 2 inches, inch and a half or 2 inches narrower on each side. So the plan is, hopefully that will allow us to move it way up here. We may have to do a little cutting under here, but we're gonna test fit it and see. Man, I hope this. Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna be able to. We're gonna have to cut out over here.
Hold on. Before we cut it out, oh yeah, we're gonna have to cut that hole out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to cut a chunk out here to allow me to get to the cap.
What can we do to the bottom to make it lower? Just take it back out.
Well, I don't think the bottom's gonna be a problem. Like, hold on. Take this cap off real quick. And we'll see how far, because right now the cap's holding it from going forward. All right. So this is double walled metal right here. So if we could get rid of some of that, it would go forward even further.
Well, hitting the top.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about is clearance for our cap over here. So we'll just have to take and cut out a chunk right here just so I can get the cap on.
Is that the only chunk you want to cut out?
Well, if honestly, look at this side, Ray. Like I'm almost up. I'm right up against the mounting bolts for the intercooler brackets over here. So this side ain't going to go forward any further. If you look over here, like look back there, it's right up against the bolt.
Yeah.
But your side, this side looks like it needs to go forward a little bit. But all we'd have to do is cut a little notch right here. Cut this, a little notch underneath here. We don't have to cut out this top piece.
Tank is.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we just cut a notch out right there, this side will be sitting up against it too. Okay, so Ray's making some marks for some brackets. So here's what we got going on, guys. We had to cut out this piece here. That was to make clearance for our fill cap. It actually turned out pretty nice. We're gonna clean up these edges. May not do it today, but we're gonna kind of beat this in, clean up these edges a little bit. I'll hit it with some paint and we'll be good to go there. What we decided to do, the bottom, it seems like this piece here has actually fell into kind of a groove on the bottom, and the bottom of the radiator, it's solid, it's not moving. So I don't think we even have to put bolts or anything down there. Up here, what we're going to do is we're going to take some aluminum stock. We're going to use our old shroud mounting points here that were already here, 2 of them towards the middle here, and we're basically just going to make an L bracket to come over, bolt to right here, and then use one of our factory shroud bolts here and here, and this guy's going to be in. The only issue is we are really not saving as much space as I was hoping that we were going to save, and the reason for that is I didn't think about this, guys, but you know, this being a thick 4-core aluminum racing radiator, it's a lot thicker than our factory radiator. So even though we've moved the radiator forward about 4 inches, this radiator is about 2 inches thicker than our old radiator here. So what's happening is we moved it 4 inches, but we actually only gained, what, about 2 inches of clearance, Ray? Because it's so much thicker.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We're gonna have enough room though. That's what it matters. Yeah,
we're gonna have enough room. I might have to change up my plans on the turbos here a little bit. I had something that I was wanting to do, but it's looking like what I might do is I might just get another set of these headers and skip the whole V-band process and just come out and weld our flanges for our turbos here straight to the headers and just skip this whole V-band thing. I'll talk about that in another video. I'm probably going to do a video soon where I sit down and discuss to you guys what my plans actually were and why I was making some of this so complicated. but we'll save that. We'll save that for another video. Good news with this radiator is we're not having to change any of our hoses. You can see this hose was actually able to kind of, it used to go straight over. Now it's going to go this way a little bit, but because this radiator isn't as wide, it's still going to make it to where it needs to go. And I believe our bottom hose, we're still going to be able to use it too. The transmission lines are long enough. I'm gonna be able to rebend those a little bit and make those work. And yeah, so we're not going to have to change any hoses or anything, guys. Everything's still going to work with this Corvette style radiator. It's about centered.
There it is.
I want the bottom.
Right there. That's more than 90. I did make another long, but
They'll be fine. Yeah, so we just need to
drill a hole.
drill our holes, and then
Yep.
she's mounted. All right, so she's pretty solid. I'm debating. See, yeah, we are gonna have to do something on the bottom because it's not gonna hold down enough pressure.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's gonna vibrate and it's gonna move around. That's not a big deal. I can figure out something down there.
Get them hoses on it and it'll be there.
Yeah, let's see this. So my bottom hose here is going to go on top of the transmission line. And this bottom hose is a little big for the spout there. I may have to get a different bottom hose.
This one's good.
Top one, yeah, the top one's fitting snug.
My side's good. What's wrong with your side?
This bottom hose was always a little big though. I had to cinch the heck out of it. I don't know. I might be able to loosen it over here and twist it a little bit and make it fit better. But this is actually giving me a lot more clearance around this bracket for my idler arm here. So this might be a good thing. Things I did not like about the way this fan was sitting. The first was that the bottom was not secured down, and if you pulled on it, you could actually swing it on the top brackets that we made. So didn't like that. So I made this new bracket, and this bracket just bolts on just like that, and you can see it's angled down. That's because of what I'm about to show you. And you got this hole right here. This is just a piece of aluminum stock. So that hole will actually bolt right there where I drilled that hole. So it's going to attach to that. The second thing I did not like about how we had the radiator mounted is it was right up against our intercooler bolts here. And I was afraid that vibration and everything going down the road, those intercooler bolt mounting bracket bolts may end up rubbing a hole in the aluminum radiator. So now the way I built that bracket for the bottom, it actually holds it out a little over 1/4 of an inch away from those bolts, so we don't have to worry about those bolts rubbing a hole in there anymore. I also wanted to show you, I ended up using a Deutsch connector here to wire up my cooling fans, and in order to keep, you know, the wires from flopping around and everything, I did end up using like a little, you know, a little hose clamp, or not hose clamp, but I don't know why I can't think of what it's called, but you know, a little retainer here, these guys. I ended up just putting one on this one corner of this fan mounting stud here and ran them both into there. That holds that down nice. And then on my factory relay here, we've got the other end of it. So we've got that taken care of. Guess it's time to tighten this last bolt up right here and stick this sucker in the car. Well, we've run into a problem, guys. The threads for the transmission cooler lines in this radiator are not the same size as these transmission cooler lines that I have here. So you might not be seeing this video for a while I decide what I want to do. I may just go ahead and order the rear mount cooler and go ahead and do what I was wanting to do in the first place, which is run a separate transmission cooler in the back of the car where the muffler used to be. So I don't know, we'll figure this out. This might be a week or two for me, but for you guys it'll just be a couple seconds. I have actually pulled the radiator back out of the car at this point. I don't know what's going on here. I went to the store and I bought several different size of you know, like cooler line threads, just trying to figure out exactly what this was. My stock lines are 1/2 inch by 20 5/16 lines, which is exactly what the website says is supposed to screw into here, but they do not. And I have not yet been able to find a size that will screw in here. I'm almost thinking that maybe the threads got destroyed by the welding process, and I'm gonna have to run a tap in here. Now the only problem with that is the only tap I have this size, like I don't have a 1/2 inch by 20 tap. I got like a 1/2 inch by 18 or 16, something like that. So I don't know, guys. I reached out to Alloyworks, but it is a weekend, so I don't expect to hear from them until Monday. So it looks like this video, like I said earlier, this video is going to be put on hold for a little while I figure out exactly what's going on here. I mean, it may be an issue, like I said, where just the heat of the weld has distorted the threads enough that I can't run it in. And the top one, I can't even get to start. The bottom one, and again, this is the 1/2 inch by 20, which is what their website calls for. The bottom one, I almost got it to start a little bit, but as soon as I tried to turn it with a wrench, it pulled a piece of thread out. So I don't want to keep going and destroy it even more. Well, that sucks, guys, because I mean, up until now, I was pretty happy with this thing. So we're just going to have to wait and see what I hear back from Alloyworks. I don't know, guys. I'm kind of disappointed by this, but I guess we'll have to find something else to do to the car until I can figure this out. Okay, so have I got a story for you? Finally, I kind of got this figured out. So here was the deal. On the website, it says that these transmission lines here are supposed to be 1/2 by 20 thread, which is exactly what my stock lines are. I already said that earlier. After a little back and forth with Alloyworks about this, I was told that the threads may be 12.5 by, I think she said 1.25 or 150. Either way, it doesn't really matter because there's no way that that's what those threads were. I'm thinking that for a couple reasons. First off, because a bunch of you came to me on Facebook and on Instagram when I started having this problem a week ago and told me that you've used the same radiator, that the threads were in fact 1/2 by 20. So the second reason is I could not find an inverted flare adapter or an inverted flare fitting with the size threads that she told me it may be. So I think what was going on here, guys, is the threads were just jacked up. Now, that's kind of my luck. I always seem to get the jacked up parts. That's part of the reason the name of this channel is Bad Luck Garage. But a lot of you guys that reached out to me, or a lot of you guys reaching out to me, have said nothing about having this issue. Most of you guys, you know, you said you got the adapters for your lines and they screwed right in. So I think I just had some bad luck, guys. I got a bad unit. That's going to happen. I don't know. It just seems like it happens to me more often than not. Now, the question is, how did I address this situation? Well, as I said earlier, I was going to try to just get a 1/2 inch by 20 thread tap and run in there. It was impossible. I actually took the Radiator to Napa. They got a tap up on the counter, the size that I needed. The problem was the threads are only this deep, guys. So, you know, a tap is tapered on the nose. So by the time I got the tap in deep enough to even think about grabbing threads, it was already bottoming out on the flare fitting down in there. So here's what I did. I bought a 1/2 inch by 20 adapter here, and as you can tell by the boogered up threads, I forced this thing into those transmission cooler lines to, you know, kind of open them up. I just coated it with grease. I put a socket over it and just pushed down really hard, and, you know, I ran this in a couple times until it would go in pretty much effortlessly. Then I switched over to this guy and coated it with grease, and this is actually, you know, one of those lines that I showed you that I bought earlier in the video. I just ran it in there and I kept, you know, wrenching it in and back out until it went in with ease. And now, as you can see, my transmission lines are screwed in and they are not leaking. We actually took this car for a test drive. I did a couple burnouts in it. I'm not going to say where, but I did do some burnouts in it. I got this sucker up to temp. The fans came on. You know, I've got the Holley control on the fans. They did come on at 196 degrees. And it's like this, guys. I can't really report as to the efficiency of the radiator because it is 30 degrees outside currently. So I can't really give you, like, you know, hey, the car runs cooler, blah, blah, blah. I will say this. I beat the hell out of this car for about 25 minutes, and the car never even came up to temp. It was still down in like the 170s. So I actually had to park the car and let it just sit and idle forever to get it to come up to temp. So, you know, it's cold outside, that's expected, but, you know, that kind of makes me happy. At the same time, going down the road, I could not get the car up to temp. So that tells me it could be a combination of the cold weather, but also the radiator working good. I do want to say this, though. These fans knock the temperature down way faster than the single stock fan and stock radiator that I had before, because as you're about to see in this clip, the fans kicked on. I immediately got my video camera out, or got my phone out rather, and started recording. It was like a 30-second clip. All I had time to do was film that clip, shut my phone off where I was recording, and I walked back around to look in there and see what the temperature was getting down to. And before I even looked back in the window, the fans had kicked off. And when I looked in the window, it was like 184 degrees. So these dual cooling fans dropped the temp from 196 down to 184 in like a minute. Like not even a minute. So, I mean, that's pretty good. As far as how it's going to do in warm weather, you guys will just have to wait and see. I do want to say this. I haven't found any leaks yet. Well, that's not true. I've got a leak, but I'm pretty sure it's just because of my ill-fitting hose. You can see it's actually moving around on the nipple a little bit. So I'm going to have to maybe trim that hose. The hose gets smaller back here, so I may have to cut some off where I can slide it on there further and clamp it down a little better. I think it's just like barely dripping on the bottom side of my hose, but the radiator itself does not appear to be leaking anywhere. I'm pretty happy with that. As far as long-term tests, guys, and I get this every time I install a new part, a year from now somebody's going to be like, how's that radiator holding up? All I can tell you, subscribe to the channel, keep track of the Chaos Theory playlist. That is the name of this particular project vehicle. So if you keep track of that playlist, if something does go wrong with this radiator down the road, it will be on video, guys. I don't hide anything. I just wanted to say, yes, I did expect some quality control issues. I mean, that comes with anything, especially when you're talking about more budget-oriented parts. But all in all, guys, you know, for what these things cost, I think it's a pretty good deal. And I'm saying that honestly. You know, stuff happens. Quality control stuff happens. A lot of you guys reached out and said that, you know, you've had great experiences with these radiators. So hopefully from here on out, my experience with it will be great too. So far, I'm happy. That's the only thing I found was those trans-cooler lines. And I'm not even going to be using them. Okay, the only reason I did this was just in case you run across this issue, because the honest to God's truth is we're going to have a remote mount trans-cooler in this car probably before you even see it on the drag strip again or at the track or whatever. As a matter of fact, probably next week I'm going to go ahead and order a Duraley cooler to put in the back with a fan. So I'm not even going to be using the trans-cooler on this radiator. I just wanted to show you guys, you know, in case you have the same issue I did, here's a way to fix it. But from what you guys been telling me on the Facebook group and on Instagram, a lot of you guys are already running this radiator and you haven't had any issues with it and you didn't have this issue with it. So I think once again, it was just a fluke. That happens a lot on this channel. That's why it's called Bad Luck Garage. So once again, if you want to keep track of this thing long term, see how it does down the road, make sure you hit the subscribe button, keep an eye on the Chaos Theory playlist, then get out in the garage, get something done, and I'll see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.